Listen, if you cannot see that your wages grew more than ours and that your costs were substantially lower for everything, then you are just trying to save your ego. You all had it easier from an economic standpoint. We have technology. I would take what you had any day.
I want to say something like, well, go hug your app and go to sleep, but I'm not going to say that. I'm a professional, Chris, darn it. Here's the thing. There's always victims. I mean, there just is. It's just the way the world works. There's somebody that wins and somebody that loses. When you're in a situation where you got dealt lemons, there are people who would say make lemonade, and there's other people that say, boy, I have to suck all these sour lemons. I have canker sores from all the lemons. So it's like I've worked my ass off my whole career, and anybody that ever wants to question what I've ever done or opportunities I've been handed, I'm going to say bullshit. The reason why I'd say that is you haven't gone through a housing crisis like Chris and I did, where your careers and all the people that you consider to be your equals went away. They lost their houses. They lost their jobs. They lost their retirement accounts. They lost all the equity or anything that they thought that was even proportionately reasonable for at their age. And they lost it. So boo freaking who.
Yeah, I think you can look at anything over history and kind of say the pluses and the minuses of it. And you pick kind of what you think is your argument and you go with it. And I'm sure you can win with that. But again, I think the whole excuse thing is just ridiculous. I just get to work and do it.
Well, and that individual, I'm not picking on them individually. This is not what I'm saying. Right. But with interest rates being that low for 8 years and you missed that, that's the biggest freaking flattest moving barge I've ever seen. If you can't jump off the dock and get on the barge after it's been sitting there for 8 years moving this fast, I mean, my God, I hate to say it, but maybe you're not a buyer.
A lot of people say that, especially the millennials, is like, okay, well, I got out of college when the financial crisis hit. There was no jobs, the inflation. They'll say like the stats you said about what tuition cost, how easy it was to buy a home, and you could have a wife at home and 3 kids. And there's definitely, you guys had pros and now we have pros. Like my lifestyle wasn't attainable for you guys at all, right? But you got to figure out what is working now and what is not working. But for sure, your traditional way of life is definitely a lot harder for our generation. There's no question about that. I mean, you can't deny it.
Nick, and here's what's funny. So I used to always say this about the baby boomers. Back in the day, and I don't want to be zoomed in because I don't want this to be a feature, but our generation thought the baby boomers had an easy way too. Work at a gas station and have a pool in the backyard and a car, and the significant other stayed home with their children and they went to private schools and they made $3,000 a year. And it's like, so the ratios are off. You can't right now sit there and be a school teacher and buy the peninsula on Gull Lake like a guy that I knew did for $3,800. But the opportunities are different. Your generation may have made a fortune on crypto, but they may have made a fortune on apps. Those opportunities are there. It's all in how you put your goggles on in the morning. Are you, looking for opportunities that you can capture, or are you just looking backwards, which makes you trip going forwards? This is what I would say from a coaching perspective. Every day you have to wake up, and every day things are different. They may feel the same sometimes, but they're different. And how are you going to look at competitively, how do I provide for myself, my family, my future retirement? Look at how many baby boomers that I was jealous of that right now can't retire. Millions. There's millions of people that are broke trying to live the lifestyle that America tries to keep us sustaining. I have to have a big house and fancy cars and a cabin on the lake, and they're in their 70s working.